Here I am, as I said I would be, with the three houses. I guess this arrangement of platforms is my design now, but it's technically unnecessary since I have the grappling hook. I have a few things to explain in terms of off-camera work. I went back and forth between these houses, right, and I picked up some worms. That's not a big deal. I rearranged the storage as I said I would. Another traveling merchant arrived and I bought a life form analyzer. It displays the name of rare creatures around you. It's another information accessory right here. It's not necessary, but I think it's one of the most useful ones. If a rare enemy spawns, it'll show up here. I'll be less likely to miss it that way. And like the other information accessories, it works from the vanity slot. Don't have to actually equip it. So, I think it's going to work because, yeah. Gotta talk about this. Pylons, if you place them, let you teleport between pylons. They need to be in the corresponding biome, and NPCs living in that biome will sell them. And I've already set one up back here. So we have fast travel now. It used to be that the NPC had to have high happiness to sell a pylon. That is no longer the case. They just need to be in valid housing in the corresponding biome, I'm pretty sure. And I'll elaborate on that more in a second. But I'll show you. This is crafting materials. I think there are more things I could put here, but that's all I've got for now. Blocks. I don't know what this is gonna be, but I think I need a third chest for more common disposable items. All these gold chests I'm gonna fill up with whatever accessories and weapons, maybe tools that I want to hold on to. I guess it could be sort of a museum of the run's progression. For some reason I got into the habit of doing that. Potion ingredients. Oh yeah, there was a windy day, which is a minor event. Some enemy variants can show up. You might have actually seen slimes that are being carried by balloons. Ladybugs also spawn, which are pretty useful, so I picked them up. Cactus is for swiftness potions. Yeah. Nothing much else to say. The vertebra for a very important potion that hopefully I won't use too much because it's for farming, but still. These are excess potions I don't see myself using, but who knows. I've put items that I'll use to upgrade into things. Like all of these are materials, and I didn't know where to put these items, so I just threw them in here. I guess I'll fight the Eye of Cthulhu off camera at some point. There's no reason not to. And the Bloody Tear is making me want to do another Blood Moon for a specific summoner thing. It might be worth it, though it might also be very boring. So we'll see about that. And I'll just put excess chests in here. When I have a large enough palette of chests, I can pick and choose where to put them. So that I can tell just based on the chest graphic, like I've said before. I just put all the seeds in here, and I'm planning to build a sort of herb garden next to this chest. I even put the blowpipe seeds in there, so I can just quick stack them in there if I end up picking up more for some reason. I rearranged the platforms because I wanted to be able to teleport to this thing and just go straight up, instead of having to move in sort of a curve to get to the top. It's no big deal. Just convenience. So the problem with the old system, I've heard people complain that simplifying housing means that you don't have to engage with the housing system as much, and NPC happiness doesn't really matter. To which I say, I haven't engaged with the housing system ever since I figured it out, so I really don't think it matters. So here's the thing. I'll be exploring the underground tundra this video. I said as much, but I'm also reminding myself as I say that. Canonically, the arms dealer and the nurse are an item. And if you put the two of them in any biome together, even before this update that allowed NPCs to always sell pylons, they would be happy enough, regardless of biome, for the arms dealer to sell that biome's pylon. So all I would do is just move these guys around every night to each biome in the world and buy all of the pylons without giving a damn about any other NPC's happiness. Happiness only matters for discounts, and it's always just mattered for that. And apparently the whole happiness system with the housing came about from the developers not liking how players would just build tiny little boxes that the NPCs can barely move around, like factory farming for NPCs, I guess you could call it. And they would just put all of those houses clustered together at spawn. So they wanted to persuade the players to spread their builds across the world. And someone on the development team had to convince the leads to give this change some practical benefit to the players, from what I heard. And there's another system that was handled a bit like that. Oh, I just realized something I forgot to do, but I might as well while I'm talking. There's also a whole thing with torches and the luck system. What do I talk about first? So you might be wondering from earlier, I just took a glance at my notes, and this is a small detail I forgot to mention, why I didn't equip the quick shackle for extra movement speed. It's because I'd have to replace this shackle. You can only have one of each unique item equipped at a time. So yeah. I guess I have a quick radar. I could have... No, I couldn't have. Still, because I want to equip this shackle, not the other one. Before I go down into the tundra, I'm going to want bombs. Ah, I guess I could. The demolitionist is actually reasonably happy in here. That surprises me. What the heck? So now I can fast travel to here as well, which is why I built these houses in the desert. I didn't notice a more appropriate desert anywhere. There might be one over here. Who knows? But yeah, I think I was right to build it in this spot. The painter and the dryad arrived. The painter just sells tools that let you paint tiles. It's purely cosmetic and I don't care, but good for building, of course. The dryad, what the hell? Why does she sell all of those? Usually you had to kill bosses to unlock these planter boxes because they let you farm herbs pretty effectively. Well, what the hell. As long as I'm here, I'll just do my whole setup. I find that buying 20 of each is good, except for Blink Root, which I don't even remember if I found Blink Root, but what the heck, I'll set it up anyway. Blink Root grows and blooms more slowly, so I feel the need to have way more, so that I have enough of it for any potions I want to make. I thought part of the point of progression was that it's not easy to farm herbs until you've killed enough bosses. Oh well. It doesn't really matter. They're definitely making the game easier in a lot of ways, though. This is kind of useful, I find, so that your inventory doesn't get cluttered with random... Like, let's say I accidentally whip over here, and I pick up a water leaf that I don't really need. The book stops you from breaking foliage like that. But it's pricey and it's minor convenience, so I'm gonna ignore it. And the rest of this stuff is mostly decorative, except for this, which I'm gonna get some of it. The way the crimson in this case corrupts blocks, this undoes the corruption process. So it'll turn the crimstone that I was blowing up to reach those hearts earlier into regular stone that you can mine, so that's another way to get around it. But its use is limited, and explosives are generally useful, and also accomplish the same thing. Oh yeah, freeze bombs. What unlocks these? It's kind of fun to freeze water, I suppose. These are new in the update. I forgot about them. I think some more bombs are in order. Although, to be honest, that's good enough. I might just max out my mana, but every time I hear a star, I'm just tempted to wait. You don't have to actually click on the pylon, you can just open up the map, and if the icons are not grayed out, it'll work. So, time to lay these down in an incredibly unappealing but pragmatic fashion. Planter boxes are essentially platforms, and I layer them with one tile gaps so that there's room to actually place the herbs that are meant to grow in them. And once I've got a farm of these going and I've harvested it a few times, I'll have all the shine and night owl potions I want. I might as well just do this for now and tear it down after I've placed everything. 2 rows of blink root. I figured out these amounts from all of the playthroughs I've done, of course. Water leaf. Shiverthorn, I guess. Deathweed. Oh, my stack of platforms is actually not tall enough. And Fire Blossom. I don't even have Fire Blossom seeds, I don't think, but might as well place everything. These flowers that have already grown are purely decorative, they don't do anything. Now I'm just gonna plant whatever I have, so Daybloom I can fill up these planter boxes completely. The benefit of planter boxes is that there are like clay pots you can place, but they're sort of more annoying to deal with. I would need to place down blocks or platforms, then put the clay pots on top of them. And the clay pots don't benefit any specific herb, but these planter boxes do. So some of them wouldn't grow very well. I think they grow faster in each corresponding planter box. The idea is that the planter boxes contain the appropriate type of soil, I think. And I don't think certain herbs would even bloom in clay pots, although I haven't used clay pots for very long at all, because when planter boxes were introduced, it just defeated the purpose. But I'm talking about all of this as if it's a robust and important system, but really, it's just a means to farm buff potions. That's it. Didn't I grab some moon glow seeds or... Oh yeah, there they are. So this is the moon glow layer. The the herbs will still only bloom at specific times, so only during the day can I harvest day bloom, moonglow during the night. Blinkroot just doesn't bloom very often, but has no restriction. Waterleaf. Yeah, I do have some waterleaf seeds. Waterleaf will only bloom when it's raining. Shiverthorn would normally only bloom... Oh yeah, you would have to put the clay pots in the corresponding biome for the herbs to bloom. But this just allows you to place them anywhere. So yeah. Oh, I don't have any deathweed seeds. That's kind of... Those are pretty important. Oh well. I also missed a full moon. That's when... during a full moon or a blood moon, that's when deathweed blooms. Okay, that was a lot of busy work, but I'm finished now. Just imagine that I'm harvesting these at the appropriate times. I won't go too far out of my way to do it during actual recordings. I also took the fruit with me because they give you slight buffs. All food gives you a generic well-fed buff with 3 tiers of it, and just increases all of your stats. That's all. So, descending into the Tundra, which I immediately have to use bombs. Great. I'm looking for some summon equipment that I actually have to craft. This is a pretty quick way to get down there. Now that I'm out of things to say, time to look at these notes again. Oh yeah, about Master Mode. One thing that was brought up is that Master Mode is inspired by Hero Mode from The Legend of Zelda. I forget which Zelda game specifically had. Maybe multiple Zelda games had Hero Mode. My problem with that is that Hero Mode is incredibly simple. I'm pretty sure enemies just deal more damage. Now, I do think Terraria is heavily inspired by Zelda in some ways. However, that doesn't mean that one of the most uninteresting hard modes I've ever seen is acceptable just because Zelda did it too. You know, it's the old cliche. Would you jump off a bridge? You get what I'm saying. I just have to keep going down. I think my luck with the cave in the forest is going to be countered by bad luck in here. Oh, well, that's just lovely. That's an event that can occur if you have at least 200 max life, I think it was. I will actually want to buy some grenades to deal with the goblins. It would also be a good idea to deal with them before I descend here for reasons. So I'll just go down to this cave and then I'll warp back and fight off the goblins. Invasions are not very interesting, but you'll see in a minute or two why. I won't elaborate now. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna have to keep digging, so fine. Yeah, I don't need... The different colored torches do serve a practical purpose. They're not just different colored lighting. But with the way the game works, I do not need them. Oh no. That was quick. I gotta get out of here. The Again, I'll block off the doors because some of the goblins can actually break the doors completely, which is mildly annoying. Most of them are zombies. The archers are distinctly different, as are the sorcerers that teleport around and shoot destructible projectiles. Yeah, most of the goblins, they're just zombies, so I'm going to handle them exactly the same way I did the zombies during the Blood Moon. And they'll bunch up and I can blow them up with grenades. This is what I figured out eventually. Because if you don't do something cheesy like this, these invasion events just become crowd control and DPS checks. Because if you can't kill the enemies fast enough, you just get overwhelmed, and that's that. The progress meter you see here, yeah, I just have to kill enough goblins and the invasion ends. That's it. They drop spiky balls, which are kind of nice. I'm actually going to eat one of these fruits for the buff. Might help a little bit. I forget all the details, but I believe you get some damage, some defense, mining speed. Oh no. That's something I really don't like about the sorcerers. They just pop up in your face like that. I think they might even be able to teleport on top of you, which is just dandy, isn't it? I jumped right into that. I wasn't thinking. I did want to kill the sorcerer, but what I should have done was equip the gun instead. Ah, well. And you can't really fail the event, you're just gonna keep dying until you kill enough of the enemies, which is maybe a little questionable. You could just get stuck in a death loop because of how it works. Whips can hit multiple enemies, but they have this damage fall-off mechanic, whatever you want to call it, where the more enemies they hit, the less damage each subsequent target takes. There was a time when the archers didn't exist, so you just had the destructible projectiles of the sorcerers, and that's it. I guess another one of the changes I could talk about in this update is that you can use pylons at any time regardless if there's an event active or if a boss is alive, which you used to be restricted because the ability to freely and infinitely teleport like that is just ridiculous. I don't care for that change. I have to agree with the Terraria veterans when it comes to that one. Yes, it's inconvenient for an invasion to stop you from using your fast travel, but it's an invasion. Like, I don't think it should be convenient and easy to ignore. The real problem is with the invasion events themselves and how they're designed, and that they happen randomly during a day. I think I've seen some mods with better events that you have to instigate the event by interacting with some NPC or some... Oh, a harpoon. I didn't even notice when that dropped. I was too busy talking. But for instance, this one mod had an event, which I think was a Minecraft reference for some reason. You're fighting invading forces from the Nether. And that one was cool because there are portals you have to destroy, and as you destroy them, the forces that come out of them are stronger and stronger. And right before you break the last portal, a mini-boss pops out of it, and that's the climax to the event. And that's way more engaging than just farming respawning enemies. If you're killing the respawning enemies in the modded event, you're just wasting your time, because that's not the objective. I guess that's an example of modders learning from Relogic's mistakes. But I would say don't add a band-aid fix that allows people to ignore something that's poorly designed, but fix the design of it. They're not above making major changes to the game even after all this time, so why not? Don't tell me that repeatedly slaughtering goblins in the same way you would when farming enemies is some iconic aspect of this game. Again with that word. I could go off on a whole rant about when people misuse that word in different contexts for the sake of an asinine argument, which ends up being, well, we're used to this, so it has to stay the way that it is. That's what it boils down to. I think that's even a fallacy, right? Okay, there we go. I think the harpoon and the spiky balls are the only things you can really get, and I seem to recall they changed the harpoon, so I'm gonna try it out instead of the mace, because the whip already has some crowd control. I have some grenades if I need them. So yeah, that's a really uninteresting event. If it happens again, I'm just doing it off camera. I might even ignore it and do something else, and then when the video ends, I'll just clear it and not even refer to it. You know, for example, I've been using this flaming mace, so I'll just throw it in here as a memory of what once was, I guess, a memento. If you haven't bought a bunch of grenades like me, if you can kill enough goblins, you can just start throwing these spiky balls. They pierce, they linger on the floor. They're kind of designed as, I guess, sort of a fallback option. If you're in a pinch with the goblins and you need to kill them before you can stabilize. If you can kill any of them and get some spike balls, you can create a feedback loop of killing the rest with spike balls and then picking up more and more. I think. I remember doing that sometimes. Okay, back to the ice caves. Which the ice caves make me think of Spyro the Dragon. I mentioned the hero mode thing. Oh, right. I guess another way to phrase the hero mode thing is actually, the gist of what they're saying with, hey, Zelda's hero mode was our inspiration, is we lowered our standards from what they were to what Zelda's standards are when it comes to difficulty settings. And that's not a good thing, obviously. I didn't mention something about the Shield of Cthulhu. This is something in my notes. First of all, I didn't specify that the dash doesn't make you invincible. It's just for movement. I implied as much because I was only talking about its movement benefits, but it's still worth saying. And it has melee damage stats because the dash is an attack. The fact that it's melee damage doesn't really matter. Like, technically, if you have melee damage bonuses, it scales a bit better. But you're not really going to use it as a weapon much. But here's an example, although it's a very tight space. The only thing about it, other than that, is when you hit an enemy with the dash, you briefly become immune to contact damage from that specific enemy, which can be abused in at least one instance I can think of off the top of my head. One nice thing about this biome is the gemstones don't have a variant where they're inside of a block, so they're easier to spot. I guess I'll pick them up, although I don't really know what I'm going to do with them. Okay, did I find a decent cave, or what? Apologies if I open and close my inventory too much. I developed some habits of just fidgeting around. The harpoon is a little... Oh, they changed it. I wasn't aware. I didn't go through all the patch notes or anything. So now it goes for as long as you hold the button. Oh yeah, it is range damage. It's this strange projectile weapon that only hits one enemy at a time. That's how it used to work, and it was best if you were up close. Because similar to a shot limit in an old side-scroller, you can only have one harpoon out at a time, so if your target is close, you just rapidly hit it. But I'll try it out now, I guess, and see if that's changed, or if you just have more control over the harpoon. That bomb was kind of pointless. Huh? Slush slime. Oh yeah, the slime variants. I assume that drops the corresponding block. But it also looks like it'll set me on fire. Frost fire. It's a status effect. I believe it slows you, its damage over time, and it doesn't get extinguished by water. It's not too fun. Do I even need tungsten? Oh, it's worth noting I upgraded to tungsten tools. I had enough gold for an axe, but I didn't do that. Even though it could allow me to make a golden axe reference, haha. But I'm gonna need the gold for summoner stuff, so no point. More evil, or I'll just keep going down. I don't think mining over to this cave here is really worth it. Okay, the background layer changes here, so I think at this point it's deep enough to find some of the stuff I'm looking for. That was almost contact damage. Fall damage, I mean. Damage on contact with the ground, I guess, is what I was thinking. I might as well drink this. And I will drink a Spelunker potion just so I don't miss any chests. It highlights all sorts of treasure. It doesn't last very long, though. You see the orbs are highlighted. At some point, it actually made all of these things produce light while they're within your range. I'm just mining here because I don't want to flood this with water. The explosives might do that. And because of producing light... Oh, a minecart rail, that's good. because of producing light, they would reveal themselves on the map permanently. So you could just run through an area without mining anything with a Splunker potion. And then you could run through that area again, even with the effect worn off. Then you'd be fine. These spiked versions of slimes are expert mode exclusive. They shoot projectiles either in a spread all around themselves or directly at you, and the frozen slime specifically can freeze you, which is a status effect that stops you from moving or doing anything, and you can get stun locked. So be very careful with that. Otherwise, they're the same as other slimes. Can I have a shirt, good sir? No, but I got another pair of pants, and that actually does something. And gives me incentive to look for a certain something. So keep that in mind. You know, from here on out, if I don't say anything about an enemy, it's because it's identical to an enemy I've already fought, but with different stats. Because I was about to say, oh, these Vikings are just zombies, but yeah. Oh yeah, the Vikings can also drop the hook. You can use this with chains, which you could make a bunch of chains with a single iron or lead bar, and make a grappling hook that way. But I found enough gemstones before finding a hook, so it doesn't matter, and the hook has no other purpose. In other words, it's trash. Uh-huh. See, I might have missed this if I didn't. Well, I probably would have explored this whole cave. Oh, I didn't see that bat. And I should try the harpoon. Okay. The Ice Blade is a sword that shoots a projectile on a cooldown. The Ice Mirror is exactly the same as the Magic Mirror. I don't know why it even exists. Maybe there's some minute difference I'm not aware of, but I don't think it does anything. Ah, what the hell, I'll pick up some of this stuff. The keg technically serves a purpose, but I'm still going to consider it decorative. I rarely, if ever, use it for its functional purpose. I should explore the whole rail so that the Spelunker potion has more of an effect. But yeah, the dwellings in here have a different loot table, hence the ice sword and the ice mirror. Different biomes tend to have different loot tables like that. Oh, a life crystal, well. I think that's definitely worth my time. I'm still gonna need 5 more after this, and even more beyond that, because life crystals are materials as well. I would use explosives, but I don't even know if they're faster here. Although I'll scroll over to the sticky bombs for later. But you can technically hold back from using life crystals so that the goblins don't show up, but I do want the goblins to show up in the long run, and I'm not afraid of them. Maybe if you're playing hardcore, I guess, but I don't know. You could do safe strats in hardcore mode as well and still benefit overall from the same thing that I'm hopefully going to get, because since the goblins happened and now I'm in a cave, I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Both finding what I'm looking for and a nice extra, which I'm still going to be vague about until it actually shows up. I could drink another Spelunker potion, but I'm just not sure. I could run along the very much stumbling my words today. I could run along the edges of caves I've already explored with Spelunker potions later. That still works. I wonder if I do actually have to be lowered down, because so far I haven't encountered a specific enemy at all. I would get closer with a whip, but it's a spiked slime, so... Let's see. Oh yeah, you do contain snow blocks. Maybe I can carry any type of ice block so that it's renewable, if that's important. Oh, this is the mushroom minecart. It does emit light. I was wondering if it just glows in the dark without actually emitting light and revealing anything on the map. Because some things are like that, like when you drink a Spelunker potion, as I said. Unless you go out of your way to build your own rail systems, which I've only done once or twice, and it was... I don't know, it didn't seem worth it to me. Minecarts don't really see much use otherwise, which is why I'm not familiar with the differences. I'm hoping to see the specific enemy at least once in here. At least the gold is helpful. And yeah, the game does remember whatever item you last highlighted here. That's nice. I should absolutely be using bombs. Oh, there's the enemy. Snowflakes. I want to exterminate as many of those as I can. I guess it's worth noting that this ice breaks if you land on it from high enough, and it doesn't break your fall. So if you fall through a ton of it, you... Oh, bound goblin. That's... Where is it? Webbed stylist. Are you kidding me? I mean, if I get both of those, that would actually be great. But... Let's see. Oh, grappling downwards, if the hook latches onto the block before you hit the ground, can actually break your fall, which is great. Ah, I guess they appeared on the edge of the detection range. And so I didn't get to them in time before they despawned. That's a shame. The Goblin NPC only spawns if you've beaten a Goblin Invasion. That's what I was alluding to earlier. Oh, well, that's good. Should I put those on? Yeah, you know what? The quickness of the radar is not really relevant anyway. Oh, and a gravitation potion. That could be something. Undead miners do also drop explosives, so killing them is good just for that. Can help you caving even if you don't find any bombs somehow, although bombs are incredibly common from pots and stuff. Come to think of it, the breakable pots that give you random drops are absolutely Zelda influence as well. Okay. That's the second time I saw the goblin, and yet... saw his name on the lifeform analyzer, and yet didn't find him, so... as long as I don't die here, I'm going to use a hunter potion. Because that will highlight enemies in red and NPCs in green. Get out of my face. Good thing this gun has enough knockback. So hopefully if they show up during the effect of this, I can actually find them. I say them because I'm thinking about the web stylist, but stylist is hardly important. Maria. Now I'm thinking about Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh yeah, the ice skates stop you from breaking ice. Which is kind of bad because that's a useful strat to get through here faster. But I can just unequip them for a second. It's no big deal. Hey, and smashing through the ice paid off. I see that. Oh. You see this tile here? It was a dynamite trap. I think that does hundreds of damage, so I might have died. Not entirely sure. Man, the only flinks I found I didn't kill, and I think it despawned. That really sucks. Well, while nothing eventful's happening... Oh, that's good. I want to talk about luck briefly. In a similar inspiration to logic to the housing thing, where they were just annoyed that players were not being OCD, I guess. Or I guess just being obsessive compulsive. I don't have to say it that way. Anyway. You know, they wanted players to build more fancy houses, and so they changed the housing system and introduced NPC happiness as well. Similarly, the lead devs didn't like that players weren't using their colored torches, which I think is perfectly understandable, because if you were to carry a bunch of different torches, that would just clutter up your inventory for no reason. Not to mention wasting the time crafting them would not be the least bit fun. I ignored both the dart trap and underestimated the enemies there. That was close. At this point I don't care about the extra money from the pressure plates, just keep my inventory clean, please. Oh hey, blink root. Yeah, that's why it's called that. And the ice caves end over here, so I'm gonna head back. What I'm looking for is within the ice. It is nice to get ice skates. Ah, flinks, finally. I can actually get this one. But in order to encourage players to use different colored torches, they introduced the luck system, and torches are a part of it. Having a torch nearby passively increases your luck, assuming it matches the biome. It used to passively decrease your luck if it was in the wrong biome. So for instance, I have ice torches here, and technically using ice torches would give me more luck. The problem is the way they initially implemented this system, it was just a net negative, unless you made your life way more inconvenient. Because your drop rates would be lower than what they were before, unless you engaged with the new system and used all the different colored torches, which would involve tedious crafting and even more inventory management. So they changed it after some backlash. So now you only benefit from torch luck. It never reduces your drop rates. I guess I'll just kill flinkses. Come to think of it, this is all I really care about. What was the other thing? Oh, the other thing is irrelevant. I think the ice skates are actually the most important thing. So yeah, I'm just gonna kill snow flinkses until I have enough. I would love to find those NPCs, and in fact, note to self, look for where the web stylist could have spawned, because that, for the sake of showing everything off, I would like to get all of the NPCs. I guess I can explain what luck does. It affects your drop rates, I said as much, but it also affects a lot of... Oh wait, yeah, that's the other thing I was looking for. Excellent. Never mind what I was talking about. I guess there's some defense on this. I'll swap out the shackle. I lost 2 defense, but I think it's worth it. So Blizzard in a bottle gives me an extra air jump. A double jump, if you will. So that's nice. Oh, the harpoon inflicts damage over 10. Wait, I should totally use that then. Oh, it pierces through enemies, so I see how they've changed it. Oh, I kind of like it now. It used to be really gimmicky. Okay. Bleed, then. The only problem is that I don't remember how much of the material from the flinks I need, which is the flinks fur. I forgot to say it out loud. It's so routine now that I'm like, yeah, I'm just killing flinks to get flinks fur. I don't need to say that. I know what I'm doing. That's what was going through my head. The cave system down here is decent as well. I'm glad. If I ran out of bombs and I just had to keep mining to no avail, that would have been awful, but it's entirely possible. The pros and cons of procedural generation. So now I have vertical mobility, horizontal mobility, a hook for even more mobility when I'm in cave systems. I just need better summoner gear now. What is this actually? Oh. I've seen these items before. Let this bat hit me. Wait, that's funny. I hear a chicken cluck whenever I get hit. There's a whole set of new vanity items that change your sound effect when you get hit. I did find one that I quite liked, but I guess I'll use this one because it's funny until I find that one again. Those were all added in this latest update. I think I definitely need more flinks fur than this. That's... Well, in that case, I'll use my other hunter potion and run around. Oh yeah, the other thing Realogic didn't like is players putting too many torches next to each other, so I think you were also punished for that. I would assume, following the same logic as torch luck in general. But anyway, yeah, luck, it affects drop rates, it affects critical hit chance, and I think almost any random event. I think there's slight damage variation on each hit, right? I think it might affect that as well, but I'm not entirely sure. It's been ages since I read the wiki. It's really obscure and kind of convoluted how luck works, but essentially, based on your total luck stat, which is not visible anywhere, they could put like a clover above the shield icon or something. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. Would save people from having to data mine and then check the wiki regularly, or implement mods that show luck in-game. I think any random event has a chance to be re-rolled for a favorable outcome based on your luck, which is useful. And the fact that it helps with farming is nice, although if you wanted to optimize your luck, you'd have to juggle a lot of individual things and do some farming for the sake of increasing your luck, which would mean that you're farming to reduce the time you spend farming for other things, which, even if it ends up being less farming overall, I still think that's incredibly silly. Okay, in this case I'm gonna break the dart trap, because I don't want to break the rail. I might want to use it later. But that dart trap would trigger from riding the rail, because there's a pressure plate on the rail. Okay. Well, that's every single item of note that I wanted. Although the ice boomerang is just because I got the shroomerang. You can combine a few different boomerangs for an upgrade, and I'm in position to show it off, so why not? Have I found enough? I think that's enough gold. That's another thing that I could have considered. Two life crystals. That's great. Oh, I'm out of torches. Well, I'm coming up on time, so... I might as well head back at this point. I'm nearly maxed out on life. Oh, but there's a Flinx right there. And an NPC. I think he'll be fine. He can fight back. Or maybe not. Had to remove my summon there so that it doesn't knock the Flinx into the NPC. Another pair of pants, are you kidding me? That's silly. Yeah, the skeleton merchant will never move in. You just find him in the caves and he sells some stuff. Consume to permanently increase crafting station range. Why not? Oh, and apparently the royal... What is with me? I can't speak today. The roller skates. There we go. Why am I straining myself? They were added in this update, and I've heard that they're broken. They just give you insane mobility for no good reason. So I guess I could mess with that, but I probably need to sell something. Because of the loaf, I can't really. I kind of want a step stool for later. I could have found this in wooden chests, but it just didn't show up. Victor, that's funny. But yeah, that's another thing the life form analyzer can detect. Okay, enough of this. I found plenty for one video. And I didn't ignore the slime rain. I did notice it, I mean. I did actually ignore it. It's gonna be awkward to do much of anything while it's going on. But, I can at least make the Flinx staff, which is what the Flinx fur is for. I might as well ask the guide just to see how much total I will need. Because there's the staff, and then there's also the coat, which is like the first decent bit of summoner armor you can get. 14. I am one off. Wow. That's amazing. I'll settle for the staff then. That's some pretty bad luck, what can I say? So I no longer need the Finch staff, and it's... Oh. I forgot that this event can expire. That's good, actually. So I'll just kill these guys and say some final words. I'll organize this later, as explained. There are a few different things I could do next time. Like a boss? Oh, I could actually do that. No, that'd be That boss is pretty tough, although you can fight it very early if you've got it in you. I'm just not... I think I have just enough mobility to do it, but I'm not sure. So anyway, a few final things. I explained luck. Oh, actually it's just one thing from my notes. Fair enough. I don't think I fully elaborated that classes are the same, except for Summoner, I guess, because of the automated damage of the summons. But, Ranger uses ammo, but you can just buy an infinite amount of ammo, so who cares? Mage uses mana as ammo, but there are ways to have practically infinite mana as well, with no meaningful limitation. And Warrior is given a lot of projectile weapons as well, because true melee combat is not good and doesn't really exist in Terraria, quite frankly. So the end result is that all classes use the same mobility items that I have equipped here. These, well, not the aglet. Vertical, horizontal, a dash. They're all going to do that. They're going to run away and shoot things until they die. It's funny to me whenever mods add new classes, because it's just another damage type, and it still plays the same. It can only be defined by the specific items, which some mods do try to actually mix things up, I will admit. But I think the problem is that Terraria's combat mechanics are too fundamentally shallow for you to be able to do much with them. Anyway, enough rambling. I will get a little bit more Flink's Fur, hopefully get one or both of the NPCs down there, and next time I will be in a set of houses in the jungle. Yeah, I think it's about time I do that. Thank you for watching.